Good evening, traders. How are we? Welcome back to Simply Forex. Welcome to the live stream. Trader Tom here. And we have got an action-packed show. I guess it's a show. Yeah, guys, we're going to do some in-depth market analysis. I am also going to show you all of the trades that I am in right now. We're also going to look at some other trades that are potentially setting up. We're going to also look at all of the news reaction. We've got a lot of US dollar data coming out today. And if that's not enough, we are also going to take all of your trading questions, guys. All right, so don't be shy. Ask as many questions as you like about trading. Before we start, guys, I have just watched a really happy, cheerful documentary on how the world is going to end. So if you want to know what it is, it could be a meteor strike. It could be a global pandemic. It could be AI taking over. It could be nuclear. And did I mention pandemic? Yeah, those were the ones, or natural disaster. So there you go, guys. That's a nice, cheerful way to start the stream, how we're all going to end. But before we do, we've still got the markets to look at, right? So let's start with a couple of trades that I am in, right? And sort of the what's the right word? The catalyst for my trades today are basically Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar weakness, right? We saw a lot of Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar weakness come into the market yesterday. We did have some better than expected Aussie dollar news, right, earlier on. But yeah, that's the catalyst for my trade. So the first one that I am in is pound Aussie dollar. All right, so why am I in pound Aussie dollar? Well, we are in an uptrend, okay, and then price has just kind of been ranging. So it's a ranging uptrend, all right, which generally means I want to buy. But this candle yesterday, right, broke these highs in here, right? Is it trying to break free from this range? It looks like it, right? We've had bullish candle, bullish candle. So the day chart was telling me I can buy pound Aussie dollar. And then if we drop down to the H4, this was that big, this was a news candle, right? So this candle here was a big news candle, right? And we'll look at the Aussie dollar news that come out and created that. But we're still in an uptrend, right? You can see on the H4, this is structure and this is where we're at, right? So we're in an uptrend. I know we had a big selling candle, but it was very news driven. And then we got this bullish green candle, right? And I basically entered when that closed, right? So started buying in here. I've put my stop below this last swing low in here, and I'm looking to take price back up to there. All right. So that'll be my 1:1, and I may leave some profit to run as well. All right, so pound Aussie dollar, that's the first trade that I am in. And like I said, guys, I'm interested in Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar weakness. And the second trade that I am in today, that I have freshly entered, and Euro was helped by a lot of positive news today as well. Again, we'll take a look at the news very shortly. But Euro New Zealand dollar, right? Now, what we saw, guys, is price here. Now, arguably, we are in a downtrend with Euro New Zealand dollar, right? But it's holding on to these lows in here, okay? And what I actually like is the weekly chart, right? Because daily, I mean, on the daily, we do have a very nice bullish candle, right? With room to move back into, you know, potentially up to this level in here. Right, but if we look at the weekly chart, right, you can see we're nicely in this uptrend, and price had retraced to this, what was once resistance is now support. And then we got, you know, these wicks that closed back in to one another. I really like that. When you get wicks that are closing back into each other, that means you've got a lot of buyers coming into the market. Right, and we're seeing that so far. Right, so more of a weekly idea with, this is the day chart now, with a bullish daily candle. All right. Plus, there's more. Plus, we are clearly, right, in a H4 uptrend. Okay, this is kind of where we're at, and this is where we're at. Like I say, I'm just trying to take price back up to this level through here. All right, and again, right, I got a nice bullish candle. Okay, this one here, off the back of a lot of good euro or better than expected euro news, right? I got a bit of a retrace. I actually managed to get in down here, started buying in here, stops below here, target up here. All right, so those are the two new trades that I am in. And let me just show you that news that come out earlier. So that big, you know, on the pound Aussie dollar, that big bearish H4 candle was on the back of this, right? We had CPI data coming out and it was all better than expected, just green numbers across the board, right? Although it is worth pointing out here, though, China's numbers, right, sorry, not this one. China's numbers will also have an impact on Aussie dollar, right? Because they have such tight trading relations. Okay, and the Chinese figures weren't as good, right? Look, worse than expected. And then that euro data that I was talking about was pretty much all been better than expected, right? It started here and then all of this news, right? So that's been pretty bullish for the euro. And we're in that euro New Zealand trade. And later on, guys, we've got this. So at 1:15, please remind me we got this coming out. And then 1/2 we got GDP. So this is really important data for the US dollar, obviously. Goes without saying, right? Because if I just show you my trade ideas for today quickly. So if we go to the free Discord, right? So you can see my trades in here. And by looking at all these trades, there's a theme, right? And that theme is Aussie dollar, right? I'm going to spell it out if I can. It's not easy to write with a mouse pen. Yeah, it makes me look like I'm a little bit special, but Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, weak, right? You can tell that by all of my trade ideas, right? Not this one. Okay, that's pound strength. And I also wanted to, you know, potentially I like the setups for Aussie dollar, US dollar sells and New Zealand dollar, US dollar sells. But we've got all that big US dollar data coming out, right? So I'm just going to wait and see what that US dollar data does. And it's one of the reasons I took advantage of Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar weakness with pound and euro. Right, so sort of works smart, right, when you've got news coming out. So there you go, guys. Yeah, and like I say, please come join the free Discord because all my trade ideas every morning I put in here, and you can access them for free, right? And right now, guys, if you join our free Discord channel, our trading community, where you can share knowledge, get my trade ideas, have a laugh if you like. We are also giving you 50% off the Simply Forex complete trading course. So if you look above my head, guys, right, we're giving you 50% off right now just by joining our free Discord. All right, so go check that bad boy out. So that's me, guys. That's where we are at. I also like a couple of Canadian dollar pairs, right? I like Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar. Sells, right? You saw that from my trade ideas, and New Zealand Canadian dollar sells, right? We had a big bearish daily candle, right? These highs are holding. It's at an important resistance level, right? And we've got this big bearish candle. So I think we can sell this back down to these lows, right? The only problem with it was, guys, again, if I show you the news with Canadian dollar, right, we also have GDP, right? So difficult to trade Canadian dollar pairs and US dollar pairs until all of this news has come out. And I mean, US dollar just in general, right? We've got so much news, right? So yeah, tread carefully with US dollar pairs. So anyway, guys, that's enough about me. That's what I'm looking at. Those are the trades that I am in. Right, let's see who is in the live chat. Luigi, how are you, Luigi? Brett, hi, how are you, mate? Faisal, you'll never walk alone. You will not walk alone. Thank you. Not that I need reminding, but I don't know if everyone knows this, but Liverpool have won the Premier League. Brings a smile to my face every time I say it. I'll be living off the back of that for about a year. So yes, Faisal, thank you for reminding me there. Yusuf, how are you? Colin, what's up? Yusuf has got a question for us. We'll take a look at that. Euro New Zealand looking good. Yes, Colin. Yeah, I'm assuming you took that trade as well. And Colin, you've been on vacation. Where have you been? You can't beat a nice vacation. And you know, not that you want to trade when you're on vacation, but with trading, you can trade anywhere, right? I could be on a beach in the Philippines, or I could be in a pub in London, right? Or I could be, you know, in the desert in Dubai, right? It really, that's what I love about trading. It's the freedom it gives me. But anyway, yeah. Where'd you go, Colin? Please let us know. Right, so we've got a question here. Let's just dive straight in with a question. So Yusuf says, what do you think of a sell on pound US dollar on the 15-minute chart? I'm just looking for a level to sell from. Okay, so Yusuf, I don't really go lower than the hourly chart, but let's take a look at pound US dollar in general. Now, the thing that we need to be wary of here, right, before you start thinking about doing any selling, is there's a level there, right? There is clearly a level, right? And that's just the first chart I looked at. I looked at the H4, right? So you can see what was once resistance could become very good support in here, right? So need to be wary of that. You don't want to sell into that. But before we do that, let's do a top-down approach. Now, we looked at, let's do the weekly quickly, because we've been looking at US dollar pairs a lot, and pound US dollar is at a key weekly resistance level, right? It is. And we're getting sellers come into the market. Look at those wicks. Now, if we look at the day chart, I just don't think these candles are bearish enough as yet, right? That is far more bullish than these are bearish. And that's a really good point, guys, right? You must look at candles as a group of candles and what they're telling you, right? Now, I'm fully aware of that candle, so I would need to see a nice big bearish candle, something like this, for me to start seriously considering selling pound US dollar. Say that after a few beers. So yeah, I mean, I'm not interested in selling it at the moment, but sell would be the trade because this is weekly resistance. And if we look at H4, right, it's, you know, it's tumbling down. Is this a break of structure? Yeah, maybe, right? You know, that was definitely a low, which we've broken. So yeah, H4 is looking like a downtrend now. But it doesn't matter because I really don't want to sell into this level. So what did Yusuf say? And I'm thinking of selling. So I would sell from this level, right? If we go to the H1, it will paint a very clear level. Yeah, there you go. There is your very clear level, right? Because this is the, you know, like the oldest setup in the book. It's the simplest, oldest, best, most effective setup in the book, right? And let me explain what that is, right? So we get an area that just keeps holding, right? It becomes very good support. And then when it breaks, right, we've just had news come out. So we'll take a look at that. And it was US dollar news. And we're seeing a bit of US dollar weakness come in. All right, so we'll take a look at that. I'm getting all of these messages coming through. Anyway, so yeah, oldest setup in the book. What was once support, right? When it breaks and retraces, you know, it becomes good resistance. So this 1.3380 level or 3385 level would be a really nice level for selling pound US dollar. But bear in mind, we have got a shitload of news coming out later on, guys, right? I tell you what I also like with this setup is when you get the moving average 20 coming round as well, and you get this resistance plus dynamic resistance, it makes for a really good area for selling. I really like that setup, you know, but price won't always make it up to here, right? In an ideal world, it comes back up, we get a nice bearish reaction, we start selling. Price, especially with all this news coming out, might just do that. And if it does do that, guys, I don't care, right? I don't have a trade. I don't suffer with FOMO. The market gives me a trade every day, right? It doesn't matter if it doesn't give me a trade today, right? It's not a big deal. So if price just does that, so be it. I don't care, right? My direction was perhaps correct, you know, bully for me, but I didn't get a trade. If it comes back and retraces into a really nice level, then I am all over it. I leap into action like Chuck Norris. And for those of you who are under 40, go check out who Chuck Norris is. And just go and check out all the memes. They're just all about how hard he is. And they're pretty funny. Most of them are funny. So there you go. That is pound US dollar. Right, we've had some news come out. Okay, so let's just take a look at pound US dollar. I'm going to say the news was worse than expected. Let's have a look at euro US dollar. Okay, so we're getting some US dollar weakness here as well. Let's have a look at Aussie dollar US dollar. Okay, not much happening there. But I'm going to say, call me Sherlock, but I'm going to say the news that just come out for the US dollar is worse than expected. See, bloody genius. I'm only joking. It does, you know, it was obvious, guys, right? I'm only joking. But that is a big miss, right? That is a big bloody miss on expectation, right? So that's employment change. That's how few people are employed, right? It's gone from 114 down to 62,000, right? So yeah, that is a big miss. I'm expecting, you know, okay, we are starting to see more weakness come in. Yeah, I'd expect to see some US dollar weakness off the back of that. But the market also knows that we've got a lot of data coming out later as well, right? So we shall see. You know, you could have this bad piece of news come out, and then in 15 minutes it's a good piece of news, and it does that, or it does that, right? So just sort of let the news do its thing. Right, what else are we looking at? Alpha. I won't try and pronounce your surname because I will make a fool of myself. But Alpha, do you think now is a good moment to buy gold? In a word, no. Right? Now, if we look at gold and we start with the weekly chart, just from a purely technical point of view, now fundamentally, right, we all know gold has been a fantastic buy, right? But technically, up here, you were so overextended, right? I don't need to bring up the RSI, right? The RSI indicator tells you if things are overbought or oversold, right? You don't need that indicator. You can see it. So up here, things were crazy oversold, and it just touched this 3,500 level, right? If I go on that candle, look, you can see it. Look at the high of that candle. literally just touched that big psychological level and bang. So do I want to buy into that big weekly candle? No, I don't. What this big weekly candle suggests is there's going to be a further retrace, right? And we've got a level here. Let me drag that across because that proved to be resistance. So that could become support. Or it might, and it could, if it reacts here and we get a nice bullish candle, that would be a good level to buy gold. Maybe it doesn't react to that level and it carries on down, right? And then the moving average 20 catches up, right? Somewhere in here might be a good level to start buying gold, right? So technically, no, I do not want to buy gold into that big weekly bearish candle. And if we look at the day chart, guys, you can, from the day chart, I understand why you're saying this, Alpha, right? Because you can see here, there is a level forming, right? And it's not breaking it, right? So if we just follow daily structure, you know, this is kind of where we're at, right? And it's not breaking this level. And we've got the moving average 20 catching up. Now, I get that from a daily point of view. Yeah, if moving average 20 catches up, we get a nice big bullish candle, right? Chances are price will go higher, right? But, you know, this is why I look at multiple time frames. I still do not want to buy into that big bad boy, right? I said the same here, and we did get a retrace back down to the last support and resistance level, and then look at the reaction we got then. But the next support resistance level is here on the weekly. So yeah, maybe a bit more room. And then you also have to consider, when you're looking at gold, you also have to consider the US dollar as a whole, right? And if you look at any US dollar pair, right, on the weekly chart, right, US dollar yen, big weekly support level, nice big bullish candle. That suggests US dollar strength, right? So that would suggest gold could come down, right? You look at New Zealand dollar, US dollar, right? We're at a big weekly resistance level here, right? Does that mean it will come down? Probably, right? Pound US dollar we looked at earlier. Yeah, let's take another look, right? The US dollar collectively is at key levels, which would suggest some US dollar strength in the short term, right? Will it carry on and down and do this? Nobody knows. But what we can expect is some US dollar strength in the short to mid-term. So that also plays into the idea that I wouldn't buy gold, right? So Alpha, hope that helps. Colin was just traveling around Bali. Very bloody nice. Yeah, I've never been to Bali. I've been to lots of Asia, but not Bali. I will come out and visit. 704 woman, ADP was lower than expected. Sherlock Holmes got that. Don't worry. James Flaherty, FOMO is a big thing I struggle with when trading. Okay, so let's focus on FOMO for a little bit. Before we do focus on FOMO, guys, if I could please ask everyone to please subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. Also, guys, right now, if you come and join our free Discord channel, there's something on my lip. It is free, right? It's our trading community, our free Discord channel. If you join that, we will give you 50% off our Simply Forex complete trading course. No brainer, right? Come join our trading academy. Use the code if you want to, right? Also, guys, on our website, www.simply-forex.com, you also get access to the VIP Trading Academy, and you can get access to the mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one personally, right? So check all that out. But please come join our free Discord channel. Right, FOMO, right? So the thing with FOMO is, so FOMO shouldn't exist. Bear with me, right? Because my strategy is daily tells me to buy or sell, right? This is how simple my strategy is, right? Obviously, you know, you need to have a very good understanding of price action. You need to understand how to manage trades, correlations, etc., right? But to simplify it, my strategy is, what does the daily chart tell me to do? Can I buy it or sell it? Or should I stay out, right? Let's say the market says I can buy it. Then on the H4, really, I'm looking for a H4 uptrend and then a retrace into value, right? Now, if those things don't happen, I don't trade. So how can FOMO get into my trading, right? And that goes for any emotion, right? If your strategy and how you trade every day, right, just becomes boring and routine. But it really does. It's one of the reasons I started a YouTube channel, just to have a chat and, you know, create a community. And, you know, I enjoy sharing some knowledge, right? So rather selfishly, that's why we started the YouTube channel, because you have so much time on your hands, right? Now, for you to not let any emotions in, it depends on how watertight your money and risk management is and your strategy is, right? Your trading edge is made up of your strategy, your money and risk management, and your psychology. Now, I would argue if your strategy is just nailed on, right, you know exactly when you see a setup and you trade it, right? There's no ifs and buts, it's total clarity, right? And then you also know your money and risk management. You're like, right, I won't risk any more than 1% on that trade. That's it, right? If that is nailed on, it's very hard for any emotion to get in, including FOMO. And the other thing about FOMO is probably one of the most ridiculous emotions, right? The market pretty much gives me a trade or two every single day. And this is important as well, right? It's not me hunting trades, right? That is me letting trades come to me and I enter the trade. I just wait for my setup. That's not me saying, oh, I've got a trade today. Yeah, I do not approach the market like that. I just say, these are the pairs that I like, which I showed you in the free Discord. I give you those every day. And then I wait for a setup. If a setup comes, I take the trade. If it doesn't, I don't. There's no room for FOMO. All right. And yeah, FOMO, you're always going to have a trade. The market is going nowhere. Trump's trying to destroy it, but it's not going anywhere, right? It'll always be here tomorrow. And if the market isn't here, then it's the end of the world, right? They didn't mention that one on the documentary I saw earlier on. But there you go. So I hope that helps, James. And James also points out that Chuck Norris would beat one gorilla, 100%. Yeah, if you've seen Chuck Norris and you've seen a silverback gorilla, Chuck Norris would win, no problem. Oh, I'd pay good money to see that fight. I really would. Right, Janish Patel wants to look at pound yen. Okay, let's do exactly that. Let me just take a little look at my trades, guys. Okay, so Euro New Zealand's looking good. I'm in a buy trade here. Let me just look at pound Aussie dollar. Okay, looking good. This is sort of reaction we want. Okay. I did, like I said, I really like New Zealand dollar, US dollar sells as well. But yeah, the news, interestingly, didn't bring that back, right? That was bad US dollar data. And we've also got more US dollar data now. So let's keep an, I'll go to pound yen in a second. Let's just look at this news coming out now. So we've got GDP. Right. So again, call me Sherlock Holmes. Okay, maybe don't call me Sherlock Holmes. Let me see. But that was initially US dollar strength. So that would suggest the GDP figures were better than expected. Let's have a look at pound US dollar. Look how quickly that news changed, right? At quarter past the hour, we were like, oh, ADP non-farm, they're worse than expected, right? And now we're seeing US dollar strength. So Sherlock Holmes, I am going to say the GDP was a beat on expectations. Let's take a look. No, how embarrassing. Right, so GDP, okay, so a bit of a mixed bag. It'll also be interesting to see the Canadian dollar here as well. That was worse than expected, right? But a mixed bag here, really. But that is a lot worse than expected. And that's a lot better than expected, right? Although this is the 3-star rating. So I'm surprised that we're seeing any US dollar strength come into the market. And as for Canadian dollar, we'll take a look at some Canadian dollar pairs right now. I'm assuming Canadian dollar weakness. But let's go back to US dollar. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing US dollar strength. Let's have a look at Euro US dollar. Again, US dollar strength. What the hell is going on? You know, ADP and GDP were worse than expected, really. So, yeah, why are we seeing US dollar strength? And there you go, guys. You know, that's the news for you, right? Let the news settle, right? Don't start jumping into trades now like, oh, GDP, quick, buy, sell, right? Never do that unless you're a news trader, right? So yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, so that we'll see. We'll come back to these US dollar pairs. Let's take a quick look at a Canadian dollar pair. So again, strange reaction. That's CAD strength, right? Let's have a look at another CAD pair. Let's look at Euro CAD. That is Canadian dollar strength. What the hell is going on? Let's have a look at CAD yen. Yeah, seeing a bit of CAD strength. So yeah, very unusual reaction to the news, guys. Like I say, doesn't matter, right? I'm not going to jump into any trades, but let's wait for that news to calm down and then see what happens. Because I still like Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar sells, right? But that's just flown off. And I still like New Zealand dollar, US dollar sells, and that has flown off. All right, but never mind, right? We still had a couple of trades. Anyway, Janish, let's have a look at pound yen. Let's do a top-down approach. And let's do this as one big happy family. Right? So, this is how you should approach trading, guys, right? Keep it very simple, very binary, and look at multiple time frames. Right? That's what you got to do. Right? Now, I'm going to ask everyone, please get involved. Please leave your answer in the live chat. Now, the question is this: pound yen, the weekly chart, only the weekly chart, this chart that we're looking at right now, would you buy, sell, or stay out of the market? So everyone right now, what would you do? Buy, sell, or stay out of the market? Guys, please leave your answers in the live chat. I'm going to have a drink. So while you leave your answers, guys, I'm also going to say hello. Yusuf, you're welcome. Just choking on my drink. CJ, afternoon, Tom. Off to Ascot today to book some more profit on the GGs. I used to love Ascot as a day out. I really did. It's a proper good, you get suited and booted, loads of you together. I love Ascot. So, yeah, hope you enjoy, CJ. I'm sure you will. CJ is part of the VIP Discord, and he basically makes profit by about 8 a.m. and then he goes to Ascot all day, and he does that every day. Okay, we've got some more questions coming in here. Should I long Euro Swiss franc? Okay, so we'll look at some more of these questions in a minute, guys, but let's focus on the question I just asked you. Pound yen, weekly chart, would you buy, sell, or stay out of the market? So 704 woman would buy, Milosh would stay out, Luigi would buy, Brett would stay out. All right, so a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. Anyone else? Please get involved, guys. Don't be shy. I don't buy. Only at weekends. Yes, get involved, guys. So, okay. Okay, so we've got 2 buys or a stay out. And I agree with that sentiment. Right? Now, let's look at reasons to stay out. Right? And this is not how I approach the market. Let's not look at it like that. That's not how I approach it. Let's just look at the facts. Right? And the facts are we are in a downtrend. I would say that's where we're at. Right? So we're getting lower highs, lower lows. So we're in a downtrend, stroke range, really, right? We're ranging from here and here, ultimately. I know that's a bloody big range, right? That's about 700 pips or something. Let me check that. Let's see if my... Look at that eye. Quite chuffed myself there. It's about 700 pips. So, yeah. And, you know, thinking downtrend range would suggest we want to sell the market, right? But just look at that weekly candle. That weekly candle is uber, super duper, Wonder Woman bullish, right? And I would suggest that has a little bit more room to travel up to this next area of resistance in here. If not, back to the top of this range, right? And obviously that depends greatly on the recovery of the indices, which we're also seeing, right? We keep seeing the indices posting some green figures, right? So I totally agree with, you know, you could stay out of this for this reason, but I would actually lean towards buying it for that reason, right? I think we have a little bit more room to come up to the top of the range, and we have a very bullish candle. We are at the moving average 20 as well, right? I am conscious of that, but we're not quite there. I would say we can at least come up to 192, right? And again, I'm just looking at facts on a chart, right? But let's carry this on, right? Let's carry this analysis on. Let's look at the day chart now, right? And exactly the same question, right? So everyone, please get involved. Would you buy this chart? It almost doesn't matter what the currency is or whatever, but or even the time frame. Every time you look at a chart, you need to ask yourself this question: would you buy that chart? Would you sell that chart? Or would you stay out? So again, guys, pound yen day chart. Leave your answers in the live chat right now. I will carry on drinking. Right. Okay, we just got some comments here. So 704 woman, having a rules-based trading plan and sticking to it will save you a lot of frustration and aggravation. Amen to that, sister. And also, GDP was worse than expected. Interesting that the US dollar went up. I know. Yeah, so that, it's strange how the news reacts sometimes. We'll go back and look at some US dollar figures in a minute. But let's focus on this. Right, so pound yen, would you buy, sell, or stay out of this market? And guys, get involved, right? If you're looking at this, you want to learn how to trade, yeah, give us your opinion. There's no such thing as a wrong answer. There is. There is definitely. No, there isn't. I'm only joking. There's no such thing as a wrong answer. Give your opinion on this chart. Okay, so this time we've got 2 buys and 1 stay out, right? Now, again, right? I'm just going to look at the facts of the chart, right? And the facts of the chart are this, right? Let's start back here. That's the facts of the chart in terms of structure and trend. So we're in an uptrend, higher lows, higher highs, right? We're in an uptrend, okay? Now, we did have this nice bullish candle, and I was actually buying pound yen off the back of that candle, right? But ever since this candle, we've just had, I mean, today hasn't finished, but we've had 3 days of nothing, right? So, yeah, so I would agree with stay out, right? What I would like to see the market do is come down, hit this level, right? And we see a nice bullish reaction. Okay, then I will be all over this trade, right? Like really badly all over it. Like Chuck Norris would be all over the gorilla, and the gorilla wouldn't stand a chance, right? And then I would buy it up to here, right? I want to buy this market, especially with this day trend, you know, and we've got this room to move into. I spoke about that 192 level on the weekly chart, and you can see it's proven to be good support and resistance. I just need, okay, I think that's Euro New Zealand hitting target. Let me just check on that, guys. 1 second. Okay, nice. Yeah, we've hit target on Euro New Zealand dollar, guys. So that's always nice to happen while you're doing a live stream. Let me go back to the live chat now. Sorry for that interruption. So yeah, so I would stay out because we just don't have the candle, but I want to buy pound yen, right? And I want to take it back up to here. As soon as I get the right daily candle, I will buy it, right? We just haven't yet. All right, so yeah, there you go, guys. You know, that's how you analyze a market. Keep it as simple as that. Look at the weekly. What would you do? Look at the daily. What would you do? Do you have a trade? Can you buy it? Yeah. Can you sell it? No. Okay, then buy it. Or you look at a chart and you say, I can't buy that. I can't sell it. Stay out. Right. Keep your trading simple and binary. Is it? To be honest with you, it's you. I'm not having a go at you. It's more, you know, but it's you who F's trading up, right? You try to overcomplicate things and you think you're smarter than the market, and you know, you use all these weird and wonderful indicators, this, that, and the other. And before you know it, you're going around in circles, right? Whereas all you really need is price action, right? And like I say, guys, price action is totally covered in our Simply Forex complete trading course, right? And if you look above my head now, if you just join our free Discord, that's all you've got to do is join it. It's free. We will give you 50% off our course right now. So if you want to read the charts like I do, then take advantage of this 50% offer. Check out the course and let us know what you think about it, guys. That'd be great. Right, what else have we got? We've got a couple more minutes for some more questions. Also, guys, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Tom, how long did it take you to read price action accurately? Not that long, right? Not that long, really. What it took me a long time to realize is you just want to deal in facts, right? This was sort of my light bulb moment, right? And it's like I was using indicators, I was using all this super technical indicators. I was using Ichimoku clouds, I was using Hikanashi candles, I was using RSI, MACD, moving average crossovers, and I was just lost. Once I stripped all of that down and just looked at price action, the facts on the chart, that is when my trading started to, you know, get to break even. Then we started to get some consistency. We started to make profit, and then my trading took off from there. But it was all because I simplified things, right? And again, you know, that's what I talk about a lot in the course, guys, right? So go and check it out. I can see we've got some more questions. Guys, we've run out of time, but thank you very much for your time today. Really enjoyed this one. Enjoyed all of your questions. Have a great trading day, and I'll see you soon.